Oh, hey there, everyone. It's me, B3, back with another movie reaction review. Sorry for my current state. I've been all gooed up. I've been cocooned up by xenomorphs. So I gotta finish this review quick before a chest burster pops on out of me. You know, gotta get this off my chest before it gets out of my chest. Yikes! But seriously though, Alien Romulus, let's talk about that. I'm a huge fan of the Alien franchise. I've reviewed all the other Alien films on here, including AVP and most of the Predator films. But I've also reviewed many of the action figures and comic books on the main channel. I love Alien, it's amazing. So I'm always going to have kind of a baseline enjoyment of Alien films. The first one is my favorite. Most people say Aliens is their favorite. I just prefer the horror aspect of it over the action aspect. Alien 3 is like whatever. And then Resurrection is a little much, but I appreciate that they tried to kind of do something different in it, even though Joss Whedon is a hack. He is an insecure hack. And I don't like him. But what you gonna do, bro? And then Prometheus. Uh, Prometheus, I kind of like philosophically, but every time I rewatch it, I'm more bored than the last time. Prometheus, I think, is objectively boring, but there are things about it that I find really interesting. And then Alien Covenant, I only saw in theaters. I haven't rewatched it, unlike all the other ones. But I remembered liking it, even though thinking back on it, I'm like, a lot of the stuff in that movie was really stupid. But I remembered being thoroughly entertained. And then the AVPs are their own timeline. I'm not really going to talk about them. But Alien Romulus takes place between Alien and Aliens. Kind of like uh, Alien, what's it called? Alien uh, Isolation. I wanted to say Insurrection. I was thinking of Star Trek. Anyhow, uh, I kind of expected it to be a lot like The Force Awakens or Halloween 2018, where it just kind of repeats a lot of the plot points of the original, and it does in many ways. And I was expecting that kind of basically like those two films, a remake that's in continuity with the film it's remaking, which is such an odd thing that happens now, but welcome to the world of film, I suppose. Welcome to late stage capitalism in art. But it actually wasn't that. Yes, there was a lot of repeat stuff and too many references to not only the first film, but probably the first four films. Uh, but I did feel that even though it was very self-indulgent in a lot of its references and whatnot, I thought it was still very good, and I thought it still built on the lore of Aliens pretty well. It didn't build much, but it did do that, you know? We got to see the big chap back for a little bit with some really cool imagery, like the cocoon it kind of made and the cool crucifixion of its corpse. I thought was really a really cool shot. Uh, that was dope. And then the new Scorched Xenomorph looks good. It kind of almost looks like they took the big chap and then maybe the Resurrection or Isolation Xenomorph and kind of mashed them together because it has more of a big chapish upper body and then a thinner kind of lower body. And I think that's because of the practical effects. They wanted the thinner lower body like the other xenomorphs, but they wanted the thicker upper body because it seemed like there were some people in suits portraying xenomorphs some in this, at least the upper halves of xenomorphs, which made me extremely happy to see practicals. I saw what I believe were several practicals and several physical sets. Yes, there was a lot of CG and green screen, but it was actually really good CG. Really good CG and really good practicals. Like, sign me up, dude. Seriously, sign me up. I just really liked the cinematography on it and everything. I liked that it kind of went back to the analogish look for Alien. A lot of the stuff in Prometheus looked more advanced than the stuff in Alien. And I want to say, and this that kind of also happened in Star Wars, you'll remember. And my opinion on these two franchises, Star Wars and Alien, is that when the Empire and Weyland Yutani kind of take everything over, one via violent war and one via late stage capitalism. And this one really goes hard on the critique of late stage capitalism. It's very likely that the Empire, like hogged all the good tech for itself, and Weyland Yutani kind of did the same thing. On Earth, they probably have all the best tech, but then, their people on outer worlds and in space, they get the leftover tech. Oh, I'm supposed to be in a cocoon. They get the leftover tech. So that's why it seems shoddier and maybe even slightly less advanced than today, which is really, I think, a cool thing to think about, and actually works thematically for Alien as well. Like, works very, very thematically with Alien. Interestingly. Very interesting. So, also a lot of this stuff, I said it mentions, it kind of builds on things from the other four films, the four main series films. But the prequels, Prometheus and Covenant, they kind of come into play as well in an important way, which is good. It acknowledges basically the whole franchise outside of AVP, which is a different timeline. Don't even try to fit AVP into the regular Alien timeline. It won't work, folks. It won't work. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't do it. But I like this film a lot. I think it's one of the better Alien films. It's self-indulgent with the franchise. Like, even to just repeating little trinkets that were found on the Nostromo in the first one are found in this. And we have one of the same androids. And the android performance in this was my favorite. Not the old android, the new android. Andy Royd. They don't call him that, but I like to imagine his name is Andy Royd. Speaking of our leads, we have to have our badass lady. It's an Alien film after all. And a lot of the themes of sexual violence do seem to be back in this. A lot of vaginal imagery and phallic imagery in this, beyond some of the regular stuff that we've had before in that regard. Like the vagina cocoon, which we usually don't see, the kind of middle stage between the little slitherer out of the chest, the little chest burster, and our full-grown alien, but they actually did show us kind of this cocoon state between the two that's like a big vagina. I thought that was cool. I thought it was cool. My partner didn't like it. He thought that was lame. But I was like, no, that makes sense. It's cool. I like it. It showed us something new. Come on. You just want to see the same thing again? No. And a lot of it was just the same thing over again, admittedly. But not all of it. Not all of it. Anyways, I was saying about our female lead. She looks a lot like Daisy Ridley. And dresses a lot like Daisy Ridley in her Rey character makeup, especially from maybe the last two of the sequel trilogy. Not really Rey in the first one, not in her Jakku getup, in her later getup. But also, her name is Rain. Rain, looks the same, even the same kind of outfit. This character is clearly Rey. This character is clearly Rey, which is fine, because Rey is a great character, or at least she was until The Rise of Skywalker, which was a terrible, 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 terrible film in basically every way imaginable. Fuck you, J.J. Abrams. I used to respect your dumbass. There's still a lot of Abrams stuff I like. But not that. How dare you? That's the thing. Sorry, then. Anyhow. I really liked the cinematography. I liked that it had really good CG. I liked that it had practical effects at all, and good ones at that. The performances, acting-wise, were very good. It respected what came before, but also tried to do some new little things. I felt they could have pushed the envelope a little more, though. I really do. Try newer things, Not just things that make sense. Get wild with it. Get weird. This reminded me a lot of Prometheus, Fire and Stone, which was a big comic book crossover from Dark Horse between Prometheus, Alien, Predator, and Alien vs. Predator comics. And I really liked it, and it made me want to reread it, and I have been, and there are a lot of similarities. But, like, get me back in there. Make this franchise so weird, dude. It should be even weirder. I want even more body horror. I want somehow even more invasive xenomorphs. I I want I want it all back. But I also want it all to move forward. I don't like it when a franchise just sits and stews in its best moments. Repeating fan favorite lines and showing some fan favorite items and characters, that can be fun if done in moderation. But when you do it a lot, like this film did, it's lazy. It's just a lazy way to get people to like your movie. It is. But once again, I did like this movie. Despite that, almost everything about this movie is pretty good. I really liked it. I have respect for it because I feel like studio mandates a lot of the referencey stuff a lot of the time, probably. And I do love it. But much like Deadpool Wolverine, which I didn't actually make a review for, maybe I should. Maybe lay off the references and try to do something newer. I mean, I know Deadpool Wolverine is like kind of an absurd comedy, and it's a bit, and it's, I'm not holding them to the same standard. I really don't think I should hold them to the same standard. Deadpool is an action comedy, and this was like a dark, serious sci-fi horror film. Completely different. Deadpool was like a very meta, fourth wall breaky thing, and this was like a serious critique of capitalism and spotlight on sexual violence, which is what the Alien franchise should be. A capitalist critique and metaphor for sexual violence. Even though Aliens is about motherhood, which is almost an opposite theme to sexual violence. But it works. It just kind of shows how versatile the Alien franchise is. You know? That it can change and be even better when it does. So why not try to change it? I know there are things that have been retconned, but really go for it, you know? Like Aliens did when they completely changed genres. I want weirder stuff. And yes, this is a big spoiler, by the way. The hybrid at the end was kind of new, but also not new at all. It's kind of something we've 100% seen before. It had to be given birth to, like the trilobite in Prometheus would have had to be, if it wasn't C-sectioned. And also it was very reminiscent of the hybrid in Alien Resurrection. Though I do think it was cooler than both of those previously mentioned xenomorph creatures. I do. I actually really liked it, and I would love a figure of it, NECA. I'm sure it's coming, but thank you for not releasing images of it and spoiling how it looked like you did for the Scorched one. I'm a bit more forgiving about the spoilerage for the Scorched Aliens design, now that I know this new hybrid was the big reveal. I wonder what they'll call it. Alien Newborn? That's probably what I would call it. That seems so obvious. Even I can't think of anything amazing off the top of my head. Alien Homo? No, that doesn't sound right. But it does make sense, oddly enough. But the Scorched Alien I thought looked pretty good. It had a very Alien Resurrection, warrior-y, kind of Alien Isolation lower half, but its upper half was very big chappy Aliens Xenomorph Warrior. And I think that's because many shots of the upper half were practical, and the lower half was pretty much always CG. I think that's why. The upper half looks bulkier than the lower half in a lot of ways, especially in the torso. It kind of really trims out. Uh, I think that was because of a practical thing. But it's not a bad sign. I didn't think it was crazy good when I first saw the NECA figures. Seeing it in the film, I like it a lot more. So NECA, I don't know if NECA dropped the ball or if it's because of the lighting and the way they were presented. Uh, but I do think the Scorched Xenomorph looks good now that I've actually seen it in action. Uh, don't judge a book by its action figure, I guess. But that's probably it for Alien Romulus. Believe it or not, I think it's actually one of the better Alien films. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed our two main characters. Uh, I enjoyed the look of the film, the feel of the film. Does it reference its own franchise too much? Yes. Does it push the envelope enough to, like sequels should, to kind of keep things fresh and new? No. But all the base stuff you would want from an Alien film is there. It's all there. The the groundwork is all there. They just need to build upon it a little more. But I do recommend it. It's a good film, and seeing it in a theater, theaters have a right atmosphere for this movie. I'm glad I saw it in theaters. It even scared me a couple times. When I watch horror movies at home, even if it's in the pitch black, they never scare me on that little screen, you know. But the theater, that's where they can get you. The theater, horror and comedy, I think, are the two genres, despite being arguably opposites, that have the best experiences in theaters. And this film even scared me a couple times. I'll admit it. It's a good film. It's a good film, and I really liked it. But don't watch the trailer. The trailer, I only watched like the first trailer or whatever, whichever trailer showed before Deadpool and Wolverine. When I went to see that, that trailer showed way too much. But the trailer also implied that there was kind of only one xenomorph. I'm glad it did that. The trailer hid the new hybrid, and it implied that there was only one xenomorph. I liked that. So maybe the trailer wasn't as bad as I originally thought, as revealy as I originally thought, but it's still pretty revealy. But if you've made it to this point in the review, you already got the big spoilers. You already know there's multiple xenomorphs and a new hybrid and blah, 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 blah. Andy Royd. His last name's not Royd, but I like to imagine it is because he's a synth. That's just funny. It's one of the dad jokes that he would be programmed with. But, oh no. I think it's time to go because it's gonna